5 years seizure-free today! 5 years, no seizures, no being confused in random places, no going to doctor's appointments all the time and wondering what is wrong with my brain. It has been 5 years of just peace, surrounded by beautiful friendships and beautiful family support. And thank God for my doctors who finally found the right prescription medication. I am so happy. I'm so happy, and I just want to take the little time to celebrate. To celebrate my 5 years seizure-free, I wanted to share my epilepsy story, the full story. A lot of my friends and family know like the basic parts of it and just kind of the important things, but not a lot of people know the full story. And I thought, what greater way to celebrate being 5 years seizure-free than to share my story beginning with my very first seizure to my last one that I had. So I decided to do a little like draw your life thing, and that's what you're gonna see in the next slides. So without further ado, let's get to the story.
So just a disclaimer, I am not the best illustrator as far as drawing goes, so please excuse any bad looking drawings. Thank you. So to begin my story, I had my first seizure at age 2. It was a febrile seizure, meaning a convulsion in a child caused by a spike in body temperature. Then, at age 4, I had my first full-blown seizure, also known as a grand mal, and was hospitalized for the first time. 2 weeks later, I had another seizure and was officially diagnosed with epilepsy, and then I went on medication, which eventually made the seizures go away. I stayed on the medication for about 2 years, and then it was weaned off, and then I went a total of 6 years seizure-free, and the doctors thought I grew out of it. August 4th, 2011 came around, and it was the day that changed my life forever. It was supposed to be a happy day. My mom and I planned to go have lunch together, and I was supposed to pick up a new camera I saved up for, but things took a turn. The last thing I remember was painting my toenails orange and pink and vaguely getting into my mom's car. About 6 hours later, I awoke to a stabbing sensation in my arm, muffled voices, and a very dry mouth. And when I opened my eyes, I was surrounded by doctors with cords attached all over my head and body with no idea as to how I got there. At first, I thought I was in a car accident. I later learned that I had a status epilepticus attack, which is when a seizure lasts too long or when seizures occur too close together and the person doesn't recover between them. It can be life-threatening. There are 2 kinds of status epilepticus. There's the non-convulsive and convulsive. I had the convulsive version, which called for an ambulance where I had 4 more seizures en route to the hospital, and it also requires professional emergency treatment. From there, I was diagnosed with epilepsy again and put on medication. The treatment I received in the beginning was terrible. We would go to appointments, and my doctor wouldn't know what medication I was on, where I was at in my treatment, or really who I was as his patient. I was in this foggy state all the time where I lost certain personality traits, and this is the time my dad described as the period where he didn't recognize me as his daughter. As my family later learned, the medication that this doctor was giving me was actually increasing my seizures. So we switched to treatment of Dr. Z, April 2012. She ordered an EEG, which actually delivered some shocking results. When I would have seizures, I would begin in a very confused state to the point where I couldn't tell you the time or even sometimes my own name. This could last hours and would eventually lead up to a grand mal seizure. The EEG showed this confused state that I was having was actually a seizure in itself. My medication was immediately changed and I was given midazolam, which is an oral rescue medication. Once I was under the care of Dr. Z, our mission was to find the right epilepsy medication cocktail. Each medication had different side effects, some worse than others. It was around this time, too, that I started having absence seizures in addition to the grand mals. Absence seizures are when you just stare and aren't in a conscious state, so if someone's talking to you, you won't respond. Up until high school, my family kept my disorder a secret. We only told people that really needed to know due to the fact we saw it as this negative force. This changed when I was casted in my high school's fall play, and my theater director took it upon himself to bring more awareness to the cause. I educated my castmates, and I was able to set up a table at the performances for donations. This is what caught the attention of the Epilepsy Association in my area and resulted in me being chosen for the Kids Speak Up 2014. Leading up to the event, I raised about $2,000 for research. In Washington, D.C., I participated in the National Epilepsy Walk around the monuments, met many kids like myself, spoke with official congressmen about support for research, and even met Adam Kingsinger. Semester to semester in high school, I continued to educate my teachers about my disorder. See, doing math problems could actually bring on a seizure for me, so when I would have one, it would require extra rest, which would make me miss school and assignments, which would stress me out even more, and then it would bring on more seizures. So it was kind of like this over and over again cycle. Usually I could feel something off about my body before I went into a grand mal seizure to give my parents a warning to give me the rescue medication, but sometimes they came on too quickly. For example, my biggest fear was having a seizure in front of my classmates at school. Once where I actually tried to walk to the nurse's office because I realized I was confused, but I didn't know how to get there. Luckily, a friend of mine recognized me and she saw what was happening. Then the other time was at a school club meeting. During this period, my epilepsy limited my activities. I couldn't have sleepovers or stay up late. I couldn't drive until my senior year. I really felt a loss of independence. At one point, I even kind of questioned if I would be able to hold a job. Luckily, that's not the case because I've been employed by incredible companies. At this point in the story, you're probably wondering what caused my epilepsy. Well, to this day, my doctors still have no idea why I had seizures. No one in my extended family has ever had any relationship to epilepsy. I've undergone many tests to help narrow down choices, including a test where I had to fall asleep until midnight, be woken up and forced to stay awake until 8 a.m., then fall asleep while being recorded by an EEG. They would flash strobe lights into my eyes for minutes straight. Although it's been proven that strobe lights don't trigger my seizures, these tests have left some emotional scars on me. Brain surgery was actually a consideration for me at one point, but my doctors found the electricity that causes the seizures came from all parts of my brain, not a singular section, ruling that out. My junior year, Dr. Z moved and I was assigned to a new doctor, Dr. A. At this point in my treatment, I had tried every epilepsy medication except for 2 of them. If one of them didn't work, I would be forced to go on the keto diet, which was a last resort option. My doctor decided to test the last medication on the list first because of the bad side effects it had. To my luck, it actually worked and my seizures decreased rapidly. My personal mindset about epilepsy changed during this time as well. My parents partially hid from me that I could actually die from a seizure, so when I found out this information, my whole life perspective changed. I started looking at opportunities and chances as things that may never come again, so I decided I wanted to try everything no matter the outcome. I ended up having my last seizure on June 3rd, 2015, the first day of summer going into my junior year. My life changed drastically after that. I gained more independence, was hired for my first job, began driving lessons, and I was on 4 pills a day as opposed to 14. My family and I still continued to raise awareness and money for the disorder, even though I don't have seizures anymore. On June 3rd, 2017, I became 2 years seizure-free, which was a huge deal for me after everything I went through. Usually when a person with epilepsy reaches this milestone, doctors try to wean them off medication. My doctors tried to lessen my dosage, but I noticed I was starting to have spells of metal taste in my mouth, which is a sign a seizure is about to begin. Luckily, one never occurred. Overall, my epilepsy has impacted my life both negatively and positively. As a result of my seizures and medication, I've lost a portion of my memory from 7th grade to sophomore year. A lot of my epilepsy story I only remember because my parents or friends have told me. That's definitely a weird thing. My friends will tell me stories about things we did that I don't remember, so it seems like I'm hearing about another person's life. My seizures have also left emotional damage on my family. Some of the scenes my family witnessed were very traumatic. Nevertheless, they never gave up on me and have always supported me, so I'm very thankful. As for the positives, I don't see my disorder as a disability. I see myself having adjustability. If I couldn't complete a task in a regular way, I would find a creative or sometimes even better way to get it done. I've never let my disorder stop me from accomplishing my goals. In fact, I believe it has helped me stand out as a person by focusing on the positives, strengthening my work drive, and never taking life for granted. Which brings me to today, 5 years seizure-free. And yeah, that brings us to today, June 3rd, 2020. I am 5 years seizure-free. I just want to quick thank all my doctors and all my family and friends' support over the years. You really have gotten me through some of the worst of times in my life, and I cannot be more blessed to just have you around. I also want to say to those who have epilepsy that watch this video, if you are struggling with the disorder, just know that good things do come out of it, even though it can seem like the worst thing in the world at times. There's a way that you can make the positives shine brighter than the negatives, so just remember that. And to end this video, I thought it would be appropriate to light a little 5 candle. Thank you for all your support over the last few years, everyone. Here's to another 5 years seizure-free. Bye! My candle will no longer light, which is really sad. I love you all. I love you all so much. And this cupcake's really good. Here, you can have some. Okay. Bye!